Well, Effie and Steph, you want to meet the expert on reproductive health.
Effie, do you want to take this one or?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't take too many notes. I tuned in for a little bit, but I think they were just saying also, it's individual with the medication that women want to take when they're pregnant. And they said something interesting about how the doctors don't have to prescribe a medication if they don't want to, which I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it was just interesting how they said like the doctor has a choice too. And yeah, so they were just saying there's a lot of, medications out there that you can take when you're pregnant if you decide with your doctor that's the path for you, so it is personalized, it is precision medicine yet again that they were kind of referring to in regards to pregnancy. And I think they had touched on like flares and, women talking about if, their concerns about flaring during pregnancy or before and after, what happens during those phases, and how it's not your fault if you flare, because a lot of people think they may do something wrong and it's just how your body may react, So that's just the main takeaways I got from that session. I don't know if Stephanie has anything else to add, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that was basically it, about this whole precision medicine, this whole individualized approach and consideration for like disease activity, with each individual person. And one thing I thought was cool was that they showed that the data says that TNF inhibitors are safer than the other ones, basically, is just a generalized statement. And it was funny because during my pregnancy, I didn't go on a TNF inhibitor, but after, while I was breastfeeding, they put me on a TNF inhibitor so that hopefully I could get a little bit of protection while I was nursing my son. So that I thought was cool. But they didn't say that one specific TNF inhibitor is more than the other one. So they said if a patient is on a TNF inhibitor, just stick with that one and don't try to go to another one just because that one's
okay.
Yeah.
And
so that one.
Eons ago when I was pregnant, because I've got a 22-year-old, the recommendations were really different back then. I had to be off of everything. And what I was left on was steroids and higher doses of steroids because they wanted everything. Because at that point, there wasn't enough data on any of that stuff. So they wanted me off everything except my steroids, which went up. And they always, sometimes you hear that people with rheumatic diseases can go into a remission during your pregnancy. Yeah, no, that didn't happen here. And we always wanted to have 2 kids, and when I nursed Jacob too, and he actually ended up having to have a neonatologist at the birth and just make sure his adrenals were functioning, because that's one issue with steroids. And everything was perfect with him, but it's a different world. Tiffany, we should link again, Mama's Facing Forward. Is that what it is?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, perfect, because Mariah,
exactly what I'm doing. So I was like, I got to remember what the research one was too. But I actually did a Google search and we came up on the first page for our episode. So that was
easy. I love Mariah. She's got a great
Mama's Facing Forward, and then
she's also a great resource for a woman who was on medications, right?
Exactly.
She pushed for
which ones. She's got all the research. So
I'm glad Debbie brought up the corticosteroids, because I think they had touched on that, but I didn't catch exactly what they were saying in regards to that for treatment. But I don't know if they were for it right now or not, but I don't remember.
I remember they were saying that TNF inhibitors better than glucocorticosteroids and all that stuff. But they were really open, honestly.
And
I think they were, and not just for RA, for stills, for lupus, for all of these conditions. And one of the cool things they said at the end was that care should be focused on disease activity, which is different from what they used to be focused on, like Deb said during her pregnancy and birth, where they were focused on the infant. they're saying, so the focus now should be on managing the mother's disease activity to improve the pregnancy and the pregnancy outcomes.
I will say, after having Jacob, I mean, I was miserable. I'd have to put him on the floor to get any like onesies on him or change him or anything, because I couldn't like stand him on like this level and pull his shirt off of him. I couldn't get my shoulders up. So
that was me.
And then after, you know, my rheumatologist finally told us, you need to stop trying for the second one because you're not healthy enough to get pregnant. So that was when we kind of closed the door on number 2, but which was okay. Again, everything has a purpose. And I always say that he's my greatest gift, but my greatest challenge too.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I had a really bad postpartum flare-up too. And I'm with you, Deb, on that one. You know, I'm still trying to figure out what treatment works for you. To be honest, number 2 is
I know.
You know,
I get it.
But it's cool to hear that you know, that these docs are interested in trying to help. And one of the cool things I remember she said at the end, she said one of the best moments in her career, right? I think it was Effie that she said that one of the best moments in her career was when she had a patient that really wanted to have a child for a long time. And she remembers like that first visit when she brought in her infant, and she was like, oh, that was a wonderful feeling, is what she said. She said it was a wonderful feeling, highlight of her career. So I was like, oh, you know, got all the feels.
So I just wanted to just back bullet a couple things. That is interesting that they were saying about the TNFI inhibitors. I need to go back and look into research too. I know that Cimzia was the first that was approved for use in pregnancy. So I'm not sure which ones have been gone through the trial.
Cimzia
go ahead.
I was just gonna say Cimzia is the one I did postpartum. So what their whole thing was, what their whole thing was about the whole Cimzia versus other TNFs was that they were worried that, and this happens, is if a patient's on a specific TNF and they move to TNF number 2, let's say Cimzia, right? Yeah. And then you try to go back to TNF 1, sometimes one will stop working, right? So that is why they recommended you just keep the patient on the first TNF inhibitor. If they're already on a TNF inhibitor, just leave it alone, because then you can have problems later on, or that second one might not work as well as the first one. So even though there are a lot of, I was going to say, which is, so even though there are a lot of different TNFs, you know, sometimes patients respond to one and not the other. You know, same with JAK inhibitors. There's a few on the market, but you know, people respond differently.
Well, it's exactly the point of the whole Actemra argument is it's not just, the answer isn't just put somebody on another drug in the same class. It's just contradicts the whole argument. Like, it just makes no sense to me, where you can have the research and the data in one topic that we're talking about and then completely go against that.
Exactly.
And what's happening in the world. Sorry, I'm gonna get all ranty again. So I just wanted to make sure, if you wanted it, we mentioned Mariah Leach. She is a person with rheumatoid arthritis. You can find her Mama's Facing Forward on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then I also wanted to point out, we did a few talk show episodes with Mariah, and then also Cheryl Crow, Shoutout, who is a person living with our diseases who's tending this, and she did a talk show with Mariah, one of our talk shows, and our patient co-host Danielle, and then they talked also about mother to baby, and we met people from there, Deb, in 2019 or 18. And if you want to learn more about participating in research or looking at the research that's been done in pregnancy, the website is mothertobaby.org. Highly recommend that. And they have all of their studies and all that have done, and all of their current things of enrollment. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, they're great. They are great. I looked at them before my pregnancy, during my pregnancy, after. So they have all the data, even on breastfeeding too. So if you're postpartum.
Oh, and one of our episodes was on breastfeeding.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So that makes sense why that was on there. Yes, I totally agree.